So, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel for another video between myself and Joe, and themed around Doctor Who Season 2. We definitely haven't already recorded some of this and forgot to forgot to press play on the mics. Never mind. So, you will have already seen by now Lux and Thoroughbred Revolution, and you'll probably have seen our review of Thoroughbred Revolution as well. Go and watch it if you haven't already. But now, today, we are going to be discussing the other remaining five stories in Season 2, and predicting and discussing theories and rumours. We will be discussing the leaks. That's your spoiler warning there, so if you don't want to see that stuff...
The Doctor Who fans, they're not going to listen to us, they're going to watch this.
Yeah, leak. I'll put it on the thumbnail, something like leaks. Come and watch. We have all the inside information. Yeah. Yeah, so let's get into this and try and remember what we were saying before. It's quite topical, actually, for this particular story, episode 3.
What, repeating?
Repeating stuff. Yeah, we'll get onto that. But yes, written by Russell and a new writer, Sharma Angel Wolfall. And Russell, in his episode guide, has this to say. 500,000 years in the future, an empty planet, a colony base which lost contact 15 days ago. That's it, that's all I'm saying. They're very much taking like a Wildly Yonder approach to this. This is like the secrets episode, the one they're going to keep stum about. So what's going on, I wonder? We've got this futuristic planet setting. I think it's like a mining base or something, and obviously that this titular well that they're going to go into and find something terrifying down there. Got a big cast of characters. I think it's like 10 characters or something as part of this squad or this team. And in some of the interviews, I think some of the cast members have talked about how a lot of the scenes involve a lot of the actors, if not all of them, all the way through. I wonder what that reminds us of.
In a claustrophobic environment.
Claustrophobic environments. Yes, and you were saying as well Russell's said himself, actually, hasn't he, that there's an unexpected sequel coming up. Did you say that on Unleashed?
Yeah.
And did he hint somewhere else about that? Or
so it's Unleashed, I believe it's.
Yeah.
It's when he's talking to Stefan Powell in the Mumbles.
Yes, in his house.
In his house. And
Stefan Powell.
I believe... Given the way he talks about Lux, he then talks about that, then he talks about the Interstellar Song Contest.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine anything else in between.
Which episode is this going to be? Yeah.
So, episode 3 being the one he has said there is massive spoilers for.
Yes, he said, watch it as soon as it goes out, don't miss it. Yeah.
But you're going to get it spoiled for you potentially now anyway.
Yeah.
We're very much of the mindset this is a sequel to Midnight.
There are other things it could be in principle, like you were saying, like could it be linked to the Satan pit with this deep pit on a planet, and I kind of think like stuff like the Waters of Mars would make sense if it was a sequel to that, like with water and a well, and that'd be quite scary. But yeah, based on what rumours are already out there, it seems like Midnight is the one. You've got this deaf character as well, played by Rose Elling-Alice, and not to say like it would be like a gimmick or anything, but it would certainly be interesting to do something there with like a deaf character and this creature that's like repeats stuff that you say, and it's all about communication, and it's been talked about this one as like a very psychological episode. So yeah, I feel confident sort of saying that. I suppose then, I mean, how do we feel about the idea of doing a Midnight sequel? Is it an episode that warrants a sequel? Will it, how's it going to go?
I think if it's done in the right way, and specifically, if my theory turns out to be right...
I like this theory.
And this is an exclusive for you all. Basically, in the Star Beast commentary... Russell talks to David at the end when the meat mentions the boss and says, by season 2 there'll be reveals early on. I can't remember if he says like in the earlier episodes, like episode 2 or 3.
It has gone a bit quiet, hasn't it? There's not been a lot of stuff. There's been that reference in Rogue, which people are like, is that a reference to the boss or not? I think it is. I think, it was deliberate, and it,
So, I don't think we'll necessarily find out who the boss is, but I think we'll get a further allusion to what the boss is up to.
Yes.
So my theory is that obviously it goes completely radio silent. They sent the initial team to go and find this thing, or the boss has sent this thing, because we know the boss is interested in very specialised creatures.
Yes.
Especially for example, the Doctor in the case having two hearts is such a rare thing.
And if you take Rogue as well, that's like the bounty hunter and the Childers maybe or whatever, like hunting down these things. So it's
with the Midnight
makes
Entity
sense.
being so unique,
Incredibly unusual. Yeah.
has significant power. Obviously, some of those stories from what happened on the Crusader will have made it back, and they'll be like, this event happened, it was absolutely terrifying, we need to leave. Maybe the boss has employed a load of people to go and find this thing to harness its abilities and work out how it can be
Which I really like as a theory. I hope that is correct. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, I think it could work if done well, like you say, if it's the right idea. I'm not one of those people, it's been like 17 years, I'm not one of those people that says don't touch it.
And so precious about it to the point where...
It's a good idea. It was part of the first series I watched, series 4, and I remember being really freaked out by, well, particularly all those kind of episodes, like Sense of Library as well, like the back end of that series as a kid, but particularly that one and like Sky and her being there in the corner. You know, if it's an idea that's good, what the hell, do it again, or no, don't just rehash it. But you know, I think in this day and age, you've got like flashier cameras and stuff and equipment, which isn't to say like deviate from what made Midnight so good, with it being claustrophobic and psychological and weird and contained. But yeah, there's definitely stuff that could be done there. I think it's worth kind of tapping back into that, extending it, expanding on it. So yeah, we shall see. But I hope that theory's correct. I really like that. Yeah,
what's also really cool. Weird is he's walking around with the weird gadget. Have you seen the new gadget?
The Vindicator, is it? The Vortex Indicator. Yeah.
So I wonder if they're using it to like work out what's the best channel back to Earth or something.
Yeah, I think so. Which I like, because it like harks back to stuff like the whatever they used in the Keys Time season.
Yeah. Like the MacGuffin.
Yeah, the MacGuffin, exactly. Yeah. It's nice, that's cool. We then come on to episode 4.
Lucky Day.
Lucky Day, written by Pete McTighe, who has written the foreword to Go Figure, which you can go and buy. Yeah, and people always say his name is like Pete McTighe, but it's not, it's Pete McTighe. So, this is the, as far as we know, the kind of the Doctor Light, Companion Light one. We think... Well, they are going to be in it to some extent.
So I think there's 2 flashback sequences with the Doctor. I think there will be the initial one where they land in the wrong time period. Because I'm wondering if this story's maybe not done from Ruby's perspective. Maybe it's done from Conrad's perspective, which could be interesting. Who's a new character they set up to be Ruby's
So we have that thing in... one of the trailers, don't know, where it's like the Doctor and Ruby, and they're back at the like 2007 or something. It's the fireworks by London Eye, and they speak to a little child, and it's like, oh, is this 2025? And it's like, no, it's not. It's 2007.
Resembles him a bit.
Yeah,
I kid resembles Conrad a bit.
I think it. Yeah.
So that'll be his first interaction with the Doctor.
Yeah.
And then he'll start to become obsessed with it. Then I think...
And that's what one of the things Lucky Day is referring to. Like the day he meets the Doctor, it starts this lifelong obsession or whatever. Yeah.
And then it could be a commentary on Doctor Who fans.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I think people have kind of said or suggested, is this like Elton Pope, but like the evil version? Well, you know what I mean? It's like...
He mentioned, and we'll go on to it, the Unholy Trinity for the finale. He would fall into the false god.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So if he's so desperate and obsessed with the Doctor, he wants to be like the Doctor and start stalking him. So I think we'll have that initial scene with them landing in the wrong time period. Then you'll have Ruby's flashbacks, but you'll find he's purposely getting close to Ruby to obviously get inside you.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what they do with this. I mean, we should say from the episode guide. Russell talks about how it's Ruby, it's her life after the Doctor. She finds a new boyfriend, but then he tries to live up to Ruby's ideals to become as brave as the Doctor, and a whole world of danger opens up. And one of the working titles for it was Meanwhile, because it's about exploring life after the Doctor and what happens there, and it's going to involve units and Kate and Shirley and all that kind of stuff, and Colonel Ibrahim. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see, because it feels like one of the things we've known about for the longest time in terms of Ruby having a boyfriend. That was kind of spotted pretty quickly on set when they were there together. Because of what we've seen again from filming, he's going to be, or it looks like he's going to be a villain in the finale. Probably not the overall big bad, but part of the Trinity or a puppet or something.
Yeah,
so it's like, how soon will he turn evil. Or
I think
you know what I mean?
Like
Episode
4, they'll have broken up. Because what I think she'll clock on to everything. So I think midway through the series, you get a flashback with the Doctor and Ruby with potentially, even though he said he hasn't done one, a reference to Rose with the mannequins.
Because he said, there's mannequins, and he said there's a weapon from the Ninth Doctor's era that's returned.
Plastic.
And there's photos of him the Doctor holding a vial.
Even though it's not blue, it's orange.
Yeah, and I actually thought that pretty soon after seeing that photo, and I think some other people can clock onto it now as well. But yeah, I think that's a safe bet, I would say.
And then
the only thing that makes me think maybe not is the mannequins look more like set dressing than like actual costumes.
Also, Ruby's weirdly got
the green gun colour.
Maybe it's a Slovene, because if that's like a brownie kind of orangey liquid in there.
Yeah, it could be vinegar. Yeah. Or like the extrapolator, or there's like bananas. You know what I mean? It could be refer to a number of things. To be honest, yeah. But yeah, that'd be interesting. Like, okay, so like, is he ever good, or like, what is that transition? Is it going to be again tapping into the stuff we discussed in our review of Revolution, where it's like
toxic
not incels, but toxic masculinity, continue that trend of like stuff. With Alan, with Roger at William last year. He seems to be like a podcaster. Hey, come on to our podcast, Conrad. Yeah, come and join us. So yeah, I can't quite get a grasp. It seems like we know a lot of things about it. And there's this creature that I think somewhere in an interview, not there, but somewhere else, he's referred to it as the Shriek. Have you heard that one?
Which
sounds very strange, because like I saw that written down.
I know his friends pretending to
I was like, it's just Shrek, isn't it? Like people are going to just call it Shrek.
There's a scene where his friend pretends to be one, and Unit cart him off.
Yes. So again, I can't quite get a grasp on this, because we saw that from filming. Again, spoilers, but like, there's something about like a costume. There seems to be one of them trapped imprisoned in the Unit vaults. So is it the real one there, or is it the friend in the costume, or is it a hoax where they managed to trick units by having a guy in a costume?
The CGI,
you know what I mean? It's what's going on there?
Scooby-Doo villain almost, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
literally a guy in the mask. You got me. I would have got away for it if it wasn't for you. Meddling kids. That'd be interesting to see. It looks like a cool monster, and we look to be getting like there's that stuff with the Unit helicopter, and there's like a creepy village with a church and a pub and stuff, sort of the demons kind of thing, and. Yeah, and that stuff with the protesters is from this story, I think, as well, isn't it? Where like they're outside of Unit and they're saying like, stop keeping secrets, with all their placards and stuff. So it seems like there's a lot that we know about this, but I can't quite get a grasp on it at the moment as to what direction it's going to take.
There's a Tom Baker reference. Now, it could just be a coincidence. You know his hat in the trailer when he's kind of going and the thing's up to his face?
As in Conrad?
Yeah. His hat says Think Tank, and Think Tank were the guys from Robot.
Yeah.
So if it's he works for a modernised version of Think Tank.
Yeah. Well, is he undercover? Is he just pretending? Like how much does he tell Ruby about what he's actually up to? And, I could see that playing into it. I think actually touching on something we said earlier, it'll be interesting with this, because it's that tentpole episode in the middle of the series where there's clearly going to be repercussions for the finale. We had that a very tiny bit last year with the 73 yards thing, where it comes back into play. It's not really like setting up anything. It's just like, we're going to mention this again. We're going to show a bit more of this interview with Roger. But it looks to be a stronger link here. I wonder like how self-contained. I think it will probably like. Because it's a standalone episode, I think it probably will still feel self-contained. So, like how will we leave things with Conrad? Will his return later on be like a surprise, or you know what I mean? Like how's that going to go? Yeah, it seems like there's a lot, like I say here, where we're so close but so fast, like putting our finger on what it's going to be. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be another kind of 70. Well, maybe not to the level of 73 yards, but. Leaning into similar sort of
I'm glad there's only one
areas.
Doctor Light episode, because we'll go on to it. I think this is Shooty's last season of Doctor Who.
I mean, possibly.
Given he's off to stage now.
He's off. Yeah, he's not filming anything else this year. That's for sure.
So either they're not filming season 3 this year at all, which could be a possibility because Russell's talking of a hiatus. Or at least implied a brief pit stop.
Yeah. Maybe his last full series, maybe it was like a special or something.
Maybe season 3 is just like 4 specials or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's form for it, isn't there, with like Tennant in 2009. So, should we move on to episode 5, The Story and the Engine, written by Newer Ellams, who is like a playwright and poet, and a very cool guy by all accounts. Someone who I think Chris Chibnall was working with for a potential story for what became Flux, which obviously didn't happen because of the nature of that season. So this is again one that we know bits about.
But not tons.
Yeah, so it's set in Lagos, Nigeria, is it?
Yeah, it's definitely Nigeria because they asked him, like, there was a thing with him
with Shooty
in the TARDIS, and it was like an interview, get to know the companion. And
he's like, where do we go? The most interesting place
and he was like,
season.
I'm so happy that we got to go to Nigeria.
And actually, I swear as well, in another interview, I don't think it was in this Radio Times thing, but there's an interview I read where I think Russell says it's 2019 Nigeria. Now, I don't know if that's like a typo, because that seems like weirdly specific. Like, 2019? What's the significance of that? But maybe. Just throw that out there. And I think he says there's going to be a villain called the Barber. The Barber.
And that's like...
there's a barbershop setting, isn't it? And
it's, but then you've got a Nancy, the spider.
The spider thing. So this is like to do with like Nigerian culture, isn't it? And stuff of folklore.
The god of stories. But it's like also manipulating stories, I think.
Right.
So maybe it feeds off stories and then manipulates those events to its advantage in its web.
Because from what we've seen in the trailers, we've got this big... It looks to be like a kind of mechanical spider. It seems to be this Nancy creature. Yeah, the barbershop seems to be on top of it.
Missing people get sucked out.
Missing people.
Either fed to a Nancy or absorbed by a Nancy, like what their timelines could have been.
Specifically like young men as well.
Yeah.
Young men. I kind of get the feeling that that's not going to be the extent of it. And there have been interviews and stuff talking about how it kind of goes places and does some really weird imaginative like poetic stuff, and I wonder whether there are going to be like sequences where we kind of go off into like fantastical worlds or labyrinths or that kind of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like mazes.
And maybe there are like other creatures. It's not just the spider. There are like other things in there. So I'm sure there are shots of Shooty like in his costume for this story where he's like in some kind of underground lair or something, and I just get that feeling. I mean, the episode guide, what have we got here? He's an ancient Time Lord. Sometimes he has to relax and go and often just enjoy himself. One such place that he goes to enjoy the telling of tales is Omo's Palace, which I'm guessing is the barbershop, or I don't know. But when the TARDIS arrives, Omo seems to have a new master. Men have gone missing. Something vast and hungry is demanding to be fed. And the Doctor discovers a universe he has never even guessed at before. So yeah, that's a similar sort of vibe, isn't it? And tapping into this stuff. Is it linking up to bigger stuff with the reality war and different realities?
We might be going on to the Doctor's, because they were saying that we were going to address it potentially, the Doctor's own personal history. We're going to get to know him a bit more this series. Because there is a quote, "I am not human," says the Doctor. "I'm an evolved life form. My body changes a lot. So..." That would imply we're gonna potentially go into the Doctor's past. And given one of the leaks, it would make more sense this episode. I know there's a big thing about episode 6, the ending being quite shocking and potentially, but I think this episode for the surprise.
The one I read said episode 5.
I really hope it's gonna happen.
I think it would
make sense.
It would actually make sense. Like when I heard that to begin with, I thought, that's a bit random. But actually, if you've got this episode that's kind of delving into like black culture, and there's a big point about the Doctor, like this Doctor being in a place where he feels very at home and all that kind of stuff. That would actually seem, like a good idea and very fitting and like a very nice thing to do. And then you could delve into the Doctor's lore a bit as well and just do some wacky stuff there. I think it'll be like a journey, like a proper, a weird, wacky journey for him. Should we move on?
To episode 6.
The Interstellar Song Contest.
More music. Yay. There's going to be music, isn't there? There's got to be music.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to do Eurovision and then not do music.
I mean, obviously written by Juno Dawson, who is someone who's been in the Doctor Who world for a bit. She did Redacted, the podcast drama thing, audio thing. She was a guest on the official Doctor Who podcast, which hasn't returned this year.
Oh, hasn't it?
No.
Listen, Thanos will be cheaper.
Yeah, and then she dropped out, and that kind of explains it now. Like even if they hadn't completely messed up the format and gone with different hosts for series 2 of the podcast, but for season 1 last year, clearly she couldn't have been doing that at the same time as developing this story. And it's one that seems to have been in development for a while. One that I think Russell, when he came back, sort of was like, this is one we want to do. We want to kind of build up to it, but do it properly.
It's apparently the most expensive one.
Expensive one, yeah.
I reckon that's to do with all the anti-grav scenes. Because my theory is, at least, whatever the villain has to do with it, it'll be a bit like, in Eurovision when countries get scored and then voted out or whatever.
Kind of. I've never really watched it, but...
Rubbish. I'm talking. I wonder if in the case they get voted out and it's like an elimination process, so they get ejected literally into space out of their seats.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then there's a villain who's playing into that, and then people are dying as a result of it.
Because this one, it feels like another wolf in sheep's clothing almost. I mean, Russell says, I think somewhere in the preview, you probably think you've got the measure of this episode, but you've not. There's deeper, more thrilling, more exciting, tougher, darker, wilder stuff going on here. It's pretty clear, I think, even without getting into the leaks, that there's going to be some kind of lead into the finale, stuff going on there.
And how they get to that.
Because we've seen, like even without the leaks, there's that thing where those aliens with the weird masks, aren't they in clips? They're in clips from this story and from episode 7.
From Earthshock. With gold on them.
Yeah, like very black suits and with little visors or whatever.
Yeah.
So there are recurring elements there. There was actually one thing as well, and again, this could have been a misspeak or a typo or something, but I think Russell was saying that the actor Charlie Condu, I think he's called, who's been seen in clips from this story, he was caught in an interview saying like, oh yeah, he's great in episode 4. So like...
Interesting.
I wonder if there's anything going on there with like characters recurring. Obviously, we've got Mrs. Flood, but is there anything else like with other characters? Freddie Fox as the horned guy, is he going to be a recurring thing, or maybe just like one villain of many, like the villain for like part of the story, but there's actually someone else pulling the strings or something else going on.
And all these events have been purposely set up to get the Doctor and Belinda at a very specific time and date, and possibly. What I think the twist ending that'll change Doctor Who forever, because there's something at the end of this episode that's going to change.
The world of Doctor Who will never be the same again. Yeah.
Doctor finds out he's finally in a TV show or some weird alternate reality.
Get over, no.
Genuinely, I think it could go so far left field.
Oh,
and this is weird.
No,
the episode that also might not air.
Yeah,
because they've taken the risk with it.
Yeah, so for the broadcast, if anyone doesn't know, because it's on the same day as actual Eurovision, isn't it? Yeah. And there's like a football match beforehand or something.
Something like that.
So if it goes into extra time or whatever, I don't know, football. But like if there isn't enough time, they won't have enough time to show it. So that'll be interesting. But obviously it will be on iPlayer anyway. It is quite cool though. They've got that tie in there with Eurovision. Obviously Eurovision's played quite a big part in this era so far. Season 1 last year, that coincided with it, didn't it? The launch, like with Devil's Cord and Space Babies. And we've had like trailers released during Eurovision for the 60th and stuff, so there has been a link. But of course, back in the day, it used to mess up with things. And there used to be like that gap in like a week off in Series 3 and Series 4. That was because of Eurovision.
That was
I think, and then around, or maybe after Unicorn and the Wasp, I think it was always like around episode 7.
Sontaranish, I think. I could swear on the commentary.
I think it was before Science in the Library, because I had that trailer where it's like the back half of the series. We've got Rylan in this episode, of course, as well. Graham Norton just been announced.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's clear they're going to be doing presentory stuff, but hopefully actually doing more than that as well and having proper scenes. And
I just hope it warrants the cost. That's all.
Yeah.
It's once again that thing we have. Could the money be better
utilized? I think, like you say, I think it will be the extra number of extras, number of prosthetics, and all this weird anti-gravity or mavity stuff going on, all the sequences and glimpses in the trailers.
If we don't keep using mavity, I can't believe we're going to be stuck with that for potentially the next decade. Mavity.
Oh, just wreck on it. The next. Do it for this era, okay? And you stuck with it now.
Maybe that's what the reality war is. Like, it's all started from here. Everything's falling apart because gravity, the theory of it's completely been done away with.
I wouldn't be against it, just because I do feel it has to have some pay. Like, there has to be something. Like, bring back Isaac Newton, like, do a proper episode around him, and just, because, otherwise, like, what was the point? But, I don't know, have we talked about everything we can with this apart from the whole Mrs. Flood thing and the potential rumours around her and the leak?
Reveal will be at the end of this. It's episode 7 when she's in the sky, in the bone, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because one of the leaks on Reddit says that the reveal will be about her identity. It'll be in this story, at the end of this story, and that, let's just get straight into it, that she's the Rani, she's a bi-generated Rani.
Version, yeah.
The details on this are a bit hazy, so I don't know whether to think, because I think one version of it says she literally bi-generates at this point, and then the new Rani kind of springs out of her or whatever. I wonder maybe if that is true, maybe has the bi-generation already occurred? But then I guess ultimately they would kind of go with the thing of, well, we'll show it happen on screen because that'll be a cool visual effect. I think it would be cool to have the reveal at the end of this story. I could see her like taking her to the stage, because we've seen her in the audience with her opera glasses or whatever. I love a good show, and she's there with a little flask of tea. I would love it if the day is saved or not. But the Doctor and Belinda, they go off. Maybe they go off in the TARDIS. Maybe they're kidnapped or something. Taken off to the events of episode 7, and she's still there in the audience, and everything's quiet and down. And she just gets up and like goes up to the microphone on the stage or something, and she's like, "Excuse me, this is who I am. Yeah, this is my moment. You see me? Yeah, come and pull." And then
maybe that's what you meant by Doctor Who will be different. Like going forward, it'll just be called Rani Who.
Yeah, although I feel like that has to be something bigger than. As crazy as that would be, the whole Doctor Who will never be the same again thing, that has to be something bigger than that. But yeah, we'll see. I would like that, though, if her identity was revealed. Because then it would put us like on the front foot and the Doctor on the back foot, like where he doesn't know who she is. So he finds out in episode 7, but we already have that knowledge, and we can go into episode 7 with the excitement of having her identity revealed. And all that stuff.
It seems they get kidnapped also, because the weird thing is, episode 7 immediately jumps in with, like, it being in a parallel dimension almost. You know what I mean? Like a parallel world that's being set up.
So I've seen that.
A wish being granted.
Do we think that's episode 7 and not episode 8?
I don't think it's episode 8 now.
Okay, because that's all the stuff. We saw it on set, we've seen photos. So Shooty's there in his outfit with the bowler hats.
We have seen.
It's like he's kind of living a life on Earth, and.
I don't think we've seen one bit of episode 8.
Okay.
And the reason that makes me say this, if you actually think about it, if you think about the trailer for season 1, we didn't really see anything from Empire of Death.
No, there was a few bits from the opening scenes, but yeah. And we already seen that, I suppose, at filming, hadn't we?
So I would be very... Because we didn't see any of the stuff, the stupid stuff with the spoon.
We saw him in that, the outfit he wears in that scene, didn't we? Like the monk's habit thing. We saw him there in the weird tent. That scene was so pointless. Oh my god.
Maybe it will come back.
Maybe. So, Wish World, the reality war. Everyone get ready to rejoice because the great day is coming. The most important days in history. The clock is ticking and everyone is preparing for a joyous tomorrow when the whole world will change forever. There's a lot of this, isn't there, where like, the whole world is changing, that the whole world of Doctor Who is changing forever, nothing will be the same again. We'll see. A strange new world where the old saying, there's many a slip twixt cup and lip, is gaining a terrifying new power. And bone beasts, which would appear to be those things in the sky, the kind of that we see in the trailers, like the big bony thing, creatures. Mrs. Flood hiding in the sky. What secrets do the dispossessed keep? That suggests to me like the people we saw at filming in the tents and stuff, like the kind of homeless looking people. A mysterious message echoing across time and space saying tables don't do that, which is something that Russell has alluded to a few times now. I can't imagine what the hell that means. Like,
I think
tables don't do
tables don't do that.
Yeah.
I reckon
what don't you do?
It'll be a sign that reality is gradually falling apart. Like the water test Smith does. Where he works out he's on the Starship UK.
Oh, and Beast Below, yeah.
I think the table will do something weird.
Yeah.
And it'll be like reality warping or bending, because the table is like that's concrete and it's like it's something solid.
Yeah. maybe like floating.
Anal.
Yeah. It just seems like, how is this all going to like mesh together? Like
knowing Russell,
what is this?
In the grander scheme, this probably means nothing. It's probably like the Doctor clocking on that things aren't quite right.
Yeah.
And something in Wish World, which some people were theorising, if she isn't the Rani, she's like the god of wishes or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I think, at least in this episode, Conrad's wish gets granted. Because the finale says that there's an unholy trinity to deal with. And
we've seen like images of posters from filming where it's like Conrad's world or whatever. Like he's taken over Eunice, it seems.
He'd be like
this dystopian
the false
world.
God.
Yeah.
Almost like a Doctor figure. You know, thinks he knows what it like.
But he's kind of out of his depth.
He's out of his depth. Things start to go wrong.
It seems likely.
I then assume Mrs. Flood is probably like the false prophet.
Okay.
Like a proxy to be like, and then there's a grander. It has to be a classic villain returning. If it's a Russell finale, it'll be some form of classic villain.
I think the leak said Omega. It said the Rani and Omega.
Yeah.
Which I take with a pinch of salt, like a massive pinch of salt, to be honest. But I do think, somewhere in there has to be a classic villain, because this is just what he does.
But then reality falling apart would make sense if it was Omega, because antimatter would be breaking through.
Like, in terms of clues and stuff, we've got wishes, we've got bones.
Trickster, maybe?
This bone palace, that setting.
Trickster, maybe?
Clock thing.
The Pantheon of Discord.
I don't think it's the Trickster.
Because he grants
I don't know
wishes.
What to think. Yeah, maybe.
Half wishes, at least.
I mean, bones, I guess, it's to do with like skeletons, it's to do with like death. But then that's what Sutek was. Like dust and things turning to ashes and everything. It's like in the posters and stuff, if you remember last year where they had the Sutek thing, where it's like the green logo against the whatever it is, like his time tunnel kind of esque background. Is the red pink logo, is that hinting at like the Rani's jacket or something? I'm just putting it out there.
Potentially.
I do like that. The theory basically would be it's by generation. Mrs. Flood is one of them, and she's been living on Earth.
And
then there's this other actor,
Rani on horseback.
Yeah, in Hungary or something. That seems very random. But there is this actor, Archie Punjabi, I think she's called, who was supposedly like reported, but not officially reported to be in the series, but like a while back. I think there was actually a similar thing with Sacha Dhawan when he was like before he became the Master. It was very kind of hush hush, but like it was out there. And I just wonder if that is true, which it seems to be. She's got to crop up in some form. It would make sense if she was this other Rani.
Alternative.
I'm just putting it out there. You know, I mean, it's not a new idea. I've taken it from the leaks, but
the thing is,
I wouldn't hate that. I'd quite like that.
I don't think the identity is shocking enough, and the reason I say this is he literally mentions the Rani in episode 1 of Space Babies when they get on the TARDIS. And I wonder if the Bishop is still something to come into play. Because
I've said that before.
Why would he drop the Bishop?
Yeah, and doesn't he say the Bishop twice? He says at the start of the story, he says like a different selection of names, and the Bishop is the only one that crops up both times. So that seems weird. And of course, the Rani was going to be mentioned in the Giggle as well. Then that was cut, wasn't it? The line about from Mel, and Mel's in the story. So I don't know. I think if you were going to do the Rani,
it makes sense.
It would make sense. Like Mel is there, she can have a showdown. Obviously, there's not like a massive amount of evidence to say like the Mrs. Flood and like her behaviour and her personality. There's not a lot that she has in common with the Rani, other than the fact, I suppose, that to be fair, like Kate O'Mara, like they were both co-stars in the 80s or whenever. I don't know, I wasn't born, but like they were both big at the same time. And I suppose Kate O'Mara would be a similar age to her now if she was still around. So there's something there, maybe. I don't know. Again, it feels like a lot of random stuff here, and it's like can't quite get a grasp on it. Does that imply that actually when push comes to shove, it's going to be another case of a finale not quite living up to the hype and not quite meshing everything together, and you know what I mean?
Together well.
Yeah, I mean, Reality War, the devastating climax, strands that have been drawn across seasons and centuries. What, centuries? What's that alluding to? Isaac Newton? I don't know, his apple. Yeah, I think that seems like a weird thing. Centuries, I don't know. But our brave, battered, beaten Doctor stands alone and helpless against the unholy trinity. Surely this is the end, unless... ... It's very much kind of giving that thing from last year where it's like, oh, all hope is lost, but there's this woman, Ruby's mother.
I think this time it will be all hope is lost, unless Ruby... because Ruby would be a part of the dispossessed lot because she's wearing, from filming, more sort of street clothes compared to
the same outfit she wears in some episode 4 stuff.
I think Ruth Madley can also be seen with Ruby in more casual wear while they're watching the Doctor and the suits walk past. The Unholy Trinity, and this is my last absolute guess, unless it's threefold deity that's mentioned.
Oh, like Incenser and her children, Doubt and Dread. Yeah, that's a shout. That's a shout.
Whatever from the greatest show in the galaxy.
The Gods of Ragnarok. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. I'd quite like that.
I wonder if, in this case, Comrade, we've already said it, would be the false god, almost. Like, he's, like, maybe Belinda is the false prophet, because she's the false companion. So if it acts as a companion to begin with, but actually isn't. And then Mrs. Flood would be the big bad at the top, being effectively Satan. Yeah.
Because wasn't there as well as a rumour that Conrad is her grandson or something?
Yeah.
So that, okay. I'm not going to get like too attached to the Rani thing, but there is this nagging thing in my head. This actor, Archie Punjabi, what is she going to be? Who is she going to be? It could just be like a really stupid thing like that scene with the spoon last year with Sean Clifford, where it's like she's in one scene and that's it.
So Susan, guys.
Yeah, that's another thing actually, to be fair, isn't it? Susan. Is that going to come up again? I mean,
well, unless Susan pops up, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. But again, like it's so many different elements.
Which wasn't at this year's premiere. And then weirdly, they had some really odd choices. Michelle Gomez.
Yeah.
And was the actress who plays
Martha's mum. Yeah.
And then...
Yeah. Who knows what to think. Final thing as well, there was a bit of speculation, I think, before this current round of rumours and leaks, like months back, that there might be like a sacrifice, like Mel might die.
Oh, I'd love it.
Really?
We need a good...
I think it was like...
Not like a man tied
the rumour was like she would die and then the Doctor like spirals off into like a bout of depression and goes off like with the snowmen like after the death of Amy and Rory. I don't like that idea. I think
it's left open-ended.
I think, don't kill... Like, if you're going to bring a companion back from the classic series, don't just kill him. Like, you could give her a heroic death, and maybe that's what she would want, and maybe that would actually be good, but I just think if you're going to kill people, like, kill someone else. Like, kill Belinda. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a choice between the two.
I think she's pretty much dead because she isn't in the war between the land and sea.
That's true, isn't it? That's true, yeah.
And that's another thing, the war between the land and sea could be the last bit of
Doctor Who media. Yeah. For a while. And they showed a trailer for it, didn't they, at the premiere? Yeah. A trial for it. So, yeah.
So
interesting. It's out there.
How do we think the season's going to end? Like, the final scene, what do you think it's going to be like? Open-ended?
Oh, okay.
How do you think... Because
they did some reshoots, didn't they? They did some reshoots for
Belinda's house, I believe, they were at. Or...
Yeah. Or like the house where the Doctor... Or is that the same house? The house where the Doctor is in the... Where he's like living that parallel...
Potentially.
Yeah. The thing is, I suppose, it'll be interesting. It could be the first time in a while that we don't get some kind of like Doctor Who will return thing. Like if Disney have literally not made their decision until after that episode goes out. Because they could make it, I suppose, during the series.
I think there's 3 endings. I think there's completely open-ended.
Do you think they're like prepared 3?
I think there's 3 draft
alternative versions.
I think it's completely open-ended where Shooty could come back if he decides to. I reckon they've probably shot a regeneration of sorts, and then he's dead.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. Because I guess whatever happens, they'll show a trail for the War Between, won't they?
Logically, yeah.
But maybe not as part of the episode, maybe just like afterwards, like in the broadcast, like the advert slot.
But now Mel dying would make sense because if he slips into that depression, as you said, what causes him to be away from the events?
I wonder actually as well, is there going to be some kind of... Like, are they going to leave something hanging which almost forces Disney or the BBC, whoever, to make more? Like the thing I keep coming back to, obviously he's not faced the Daleks yet. Are they like keeping that as a carrot to wave in front of Disney, wave in front of Shooty, like saying, like, come back because you know had a Dalek story. Yeah, if you come back, we'll give you a Dalek story.
It's terrible they haven't given him one because it won't be.
But I kind of think that's what they're doing. I think they're holding it back as a card in their back pocket to go. Well, okay, yeah, you can leave now, or you can finish now, you can pull out now, but you know, here is this really appealing thing that the fans want and you will all want, and you know, I honestly kind of think maybe that's it, and maybe there's like a Dalek special, and that's it for him. But then part of me just think as well, yeah, maybe he's gone. Like, with the theatre thing, maybe that is it for him. The lack of clarification on it is just weird, and the fact that we could have started his last season without actually knowing for sure.
It'll be like Series 1,
bizarre.
I think it'll just have... Because Series 1 had an alternative ending where Rose dies.
Yeah. Or like, isn't it like he's looking at her life signs on the screen or something?
Yeah, and it says life.
It's like, don't to be continued.
Yeah. Do I think it's going to be the last bit of Doctor Who media? No. I think you're all going to have to chill your sticks. Because I think War Between the Land and Sea will have the gap year. They'll start filming at some point next year. And we might... So we'll definitely have 2026 without Doctor Who. I don't think we'll have a new episode till 2027 of actual Doctor Who. Is my theory.
Well, we could do maybe a special next year. I think definitely a Christmas special for this year is completely off the cards. Like, there's no way that's happening, is there?
They're not going to be able to turn it.
Which is kind of like disappointing with the whole like annual. I mean, I suppose we'll have War Between maybe in a
they'll release
later
that New
end of the year
Year's.
slot, or so maybe they'll kind of get away with it.
Because there was rumours of them potentially releasing that October. I heard. So apparently it's actually done.
Oh yeah.
I think there's editing final episode last I heard. So
yeah, I suppose if nothing else, that there's that. I don't really see a world though where that is the last thing. It'll be interesting to go back as ever with these and look back and see what we predicted correctly or not. But yeah, leave all of your thoughts, your theories in the comments below about this season, about the Well, Lucky Day, the story in the engine, the Interstellar Song Contest, Wish World. I always want to say Wish World, and the Reality War. We'll see you for other stuff. Thanks for joining me, Joe, as ever. And yeah, goodbye. That way or that way?
I don't think he knows.